Got some quick birthday shots going on to Connor via Lockdown on Lockdown, coming in from your good friend Delia, and also from yours truly, wishing you all the best. People, don't touch that dial. The Edge is coming up shortly. Devonne Cornelius is already in the studio.
All right, good morning, St. Kitts and Nevis, and welcome to The Edge here on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. I'm your host, Devonne Cornelius, and thank you for joining me on the program for today. It's a beautiful day here in Basti, St. Kitts. Today is Wednesday, October 23rd, 2024. This program is also being carried live via our social media platforms. You may check us out on our YouTube channel at ZIZ Online and via Facebook at ZIZ Broadcasting Corporation. When we open the phone lines, you may call us at 465-2555 or 718-577-2916 or 662-8674. Those are the numbers you call to lend your voice to the conversation at hand. We are looking at things happening here in St. Kitts and Nevis, and of course giving you, the listeners, an opportunity to call in and lend your voice to the conversation at hand. Yesterday, the Prime Minister, Dr. Terence Drew, was able to join me on the program to speak on a number of matters of national importance as it relates to, of course, St. Kitts and Nevis in terms of the diversifying the economy, sustainable development, and looking at various sectors like tourism, agriculture, investments in renewable energy, and the list goes on and on. I would allow the callers to call in and share their thoughts and ideas on that as well. Of course, we were not able to get as much callers due to the time, but I'd like to give you the opportunity to do so for today. But for those of you who were not able to join the conversation, in a nutshell, the Prime Minister spoke on an initiative called ZIZ, which looks at the diversification of the economy. So, over the past, for a very long time, St. Kitts and Nevis has been heavily dependent on the Citizenship by Investment program, where more than 60% of our revenue comes from that program. Now, while it may seem good to have a program that is lucrative and making lots of money, we must understand that CBA programs in the region are susceptible to international scrutiny and politics. It is susceptible to pressure from our international partners. We know over the years our partners in the international scene have been calling for greater transparency and accountability as it relates to the program, and have voiced their concerns as it relates to CBI programs. And so the approach that we want to take here in St. Kitts and Nevis is, hey, we don't want to have all of our eggs in one basket. We want to really go into or invest in other areas of the economy in the event that we are to, or in the event this program is not as lucrative or as performing as well as it used to, then we have other areas that we can fall back on. And so renewable energy, paying more attention to agriculture and making it more sustainable, or looking at different initiatives in tourism. But of course, for these things to happen, it must be, as it is with crime, an all of society approach, and we must all play our part. The important part of the economy is small businesses, and so small businesses must be supported in every way that is possible, and not just financial support, but helping small business owners to manage their business by having different sessions on how to manage a business and how to do market research, how to market PR, and all of these different moving parts and so on. But it was a good conversation yesterday, and we're going to seek to, somewhat continue that conversation for today. Let's give a quick shout out to with our ads, and when we come back, we'll continue our program here on The Edge. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll continue our conversation. Stay tuned.
It has been 2 years since Prime Minister Dr. Terence Drew led his team to victory at the polls and assumed the reins of government. He and his team came to office on the promise of restoring our nation to its glory days, when good governance assured every citizen and resident was guaranteed economic stability and employment, quality health care and education, modern housing, and visionary social protections. But where are they now? And how do they measure up in delivering on the promises made to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis? Join me, Ebony Brandon, on ZIZ Television each Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. with a rebroadcast on Fridays at 8 p.m. for the limited episode series, The Nine, an era of transformation. As together we explore how the Dr. Terence Drew-led government has followed through on their commitment to transforming the nation into the world's first sustainable island state.
Guess what? What? September 2024 marks the official start of Aspire.
And our government has a super cool gift just for us.
$1,000 in saving and investments.
$500 will be held in a savings account.
That we go. And you go.
And $500 in shares kept safely until you are qualified to access it.
And it belongs to us. Nah, mommy, nah, daddy.
And not only that, you'll be learning all about how to manage your money wisely at school too.
Yes, all children ages 5 to 18 who are citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis
and registered at a school, including homeschool, will qualify.
I can't wait for September 2024.
But I am the first group ever to benefit from this program.
Yay! To saving, investing, and
watching our money grow.
Welcome back to The Edge and ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. Now, on Tuesday of this week, the cable officially handed over the completed lobby area of the Joseph and Franz General Hospital. So you would recall that sometime last year, around November or so, plans were unveiled for the refurbishment or the renovation of the lobby area of the JNF General Hospital. And the idea was to improve the aesthetics of the area, to make it feel more welcoming. They improved the lighting of the area. They had new signage installed, new chairs, a fresh coat of paint. And so when you go there now, it looks better and it feels better. And so that was a gift from the cable, where they were celebrating their 40th anniversary, and they thought of doing something to give back to St. Kitts and Nevis, to give back to our community. And that was the project that they decided to undertake. And they did not do it alone. They did it in collaboration with a number of local businesses and organizations here in St. Kitts and Nevis. So the name of the project is the Joseph and Franz General Hospital Lobby Refurbishment Independence 40 Anniversary Project. And as I said earlier, it was a gift to the hospital. And so the cable partnered with TDC Group of Companies, Vaughn's Construction and Designs, DB Designs, Crown Prince, DreamWorks Designs, Thomas Duke Architect, and Isaac Professional Services. And all of these businesses came together and said, look, we need to upgrade the existing facility and make it more welcoming. Of course, other upgrades have been made to the hospital over the years, but they decided to improve the lobby area. That is the first place that you go if you are to end up at JNF. And so when you pass through that area, the look and feel of the lobby of a hospital or the waiting area of a hospital, it goes a long way. If it looks welcoming and it feels welcoming, that can help you emotionally, because when you are going to the hospital, most people, they either go because of an emergency or they're going to visit a friend or a loved one or something. And so you're not always there in the best of spirits or in the best of mood. And so having an area that is welcoming and it feels welcoming could really boost your spirits. And so that is why they did this initiative. So what this showed to me was that businesses have the ability to come together for the good of the nation, and that was really good to see that happening. Upgrading the existing facility is really important. Even though the government has unveiled plans to construct a new hospital, it is still important to fix what you have. So even if you're building a new house and you're doing a concrete roof or a nice roof with some nice galvanized, but you live in a current house and the roof is leaking and you still don't have certain things, things look a bit shabby, you have to fix that, because that is where you're currently living. And that is the same case with the hospital. Even though the government has announced that they intend to construct a new hospital, the focus is to improve what we currently have. Now, the idea, of course, is a climate smart hospital. Climate smart in the sense that it can stand up against the storms that are getting stronger and stronger. It can compete with the fact that we have water challenges in the sense that, rainfall is sometimes irregular and all of these different things, and of course other natural disasters. Now, if we are to fix, according to the Prime Minister, the hospital, it may not be up to standard to withstand the changing or the harsh effects of our climate. And climate is changing. The climate is changing really fast, and things are getting worse and worse and worse. And so what we have to do as a small island developing state, St. Kitts and Nevis and other countries in the region, is to change with the time. We can't stay behind and say, well, let's do things how we used to do them before, and then at the end of the day, we end up in hot mess. And so why not change with the time and adapt to the new technologies that we have? So this project was launched in November of 2023, and according to the CEO of the cable, Patricia Walters, it required the collaboration of multiple private and public sector or public entities, including TDC group of companies, and the planning and execution of which is just shy of 1 year now. It sees a refurbished lobby that boasts new seating, improved lighting, clearer signage, elements designed to improve patient experience and alleviate the anxiety that often accompanies a hospital visit. Now, CEO Walters noted that the project went beyond just simply repainting the lobby, as the company wanted to create a pleasant atmosphere so that whether you are waiting or passing through, your spirit would be lifted. The refurbishment of the lobby is just one part of a larger initiative to improve healthcare facilities across the country, according to the Prime Minister. And this was also echoed by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Mr. Curtis Martin. Now, the broader strategy, of course, includes the development of a new climate smart hospital that I mentioned earlier. The event was also attended by the Deputy Prime Minister and other representatives from the government, including those from the Ministry of Health and, of course, hospital staff. It's 11:18, and we'll open the phone lines now to take your calls at 465-2555 or 577-2916. The phone lines are open. You may call us and lend your voice to the conversation at hand as it relates to things happening here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Just to share quickly with you that the Department of Agriculture wishes to inform all traders, livestock owners, and the general public of special arrangements in place to ensure the smooth functioning of the abattoir during the busy period leading up to December. I know this period people usually carry their pigs and goats and sheep to the abattoir, and so these measures are designed to facilitate the increased demand and to ensure efficient operation. So during the week of 8th December, the abattoir will exclusively accommodate traders. This will allow for better management of high volume processing and ensure that traders can carry out their business without disruption. All other livestock owners and persons are strongly advised to make use of the preceding weeks for slaughtering and processing their animals. Now, the abattoir will operate as usual during these weeks to accommodate non-traders, and we encourage early arrangements to avoid delays and inconvenience. The facility will be facilitating a weekly maximum throughput of 110 small ruminants, 100 pigs, and 7 cows. Persons wishing to use the abattoir services in the month of November and the first week of December can indicate their desired date and number to the abattoir to secure their spot. So those of you who usually use the abattoir, that is what they're asking of you. And of course, the abattoir is guided by the standards of humane slaughter, and the processing volume and capacity of the abattoir. Therefore, the stated numbers would not be exceeded. We appreciate the cooperation of the public in adhering to these arrangements, and this is to ensure that things flow and run smoothly. If you have any questions on this, you can call 465-7938. That's 465-7938. Any questions you may have on that. CFBC, the Clarence Fitzroy Bryant College Bulls stormed to victory with a 6-2-0 win over the Bastia High School Stormers in the inaugural match on Saturday, 19th October, in the Jones Group Limited Schools Football Champion at Warner Park. The CFBC Bulls displayed impressive skill and teamwork by putting their best feet forward, with Devon Mills, number 7, netting 3 goals, showcasing his striking prowess and being named Player of the Match. The squad comprises Tamalji Brown, Jamil Idol, Tenron Henry, Prince Daniel, Zeme Green, Omari Morris, DeQuandre Henry, Jamali Connor, Imari Linton, J.L. Swanston, Jace Green, Jacqueline Samuel, Vianji Pogson, Tiquan James, Xavier Wilkinson, Jazion DeCosta, Michael Walters, Ronville Williams, and Yusani Hendrickson. Now, the next match is scheduled for this afternoon at 3:30 p.m. in Verchels, where the CFBC Bulls will seek to triumph over the Washington Archibald High School Wildcats. It's 11:22. Let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll continue our conversation here on The Edge. Stay tuned.
Tis the season to be merry with ZIZ Radio and Television Broadcasting Network. And what a better way to make your business stand out than by spreading holiday cheer to your potential customers with our spectacular Christmas package designed to help your business shine during this festive season. We'll tailor our advertising solutions to match your unique business needs. Whether you are a cozy local shop, a trendy online store, or a bustling service provider, we've got something special for you. Plus, our packages are incredibly cost-effective, allowing you to get the most value for your marketing budget. But that's not all. When you choose our Christmas packages, you get ear-catching radio and eye-catching television spots that will keep your business on everyone's mind. Social media campaigns that will keep your followers engaged and excited. So what are you waiting for? This Christmas, make your business the star of the show and give your customers a reason to celebrate. Call us at 465-2621, 465-2622, or visit our sales and marketing department to learn more about our Christmas packages. Together, let's make this holiday season truly magical for your business. Merry Christmas and happy business to you.
Join us on ZIZ TV for Youth Lounge with Skenator, a talk show on vital topics such as tourism, entrepreneurship, education, religion, sex education, and mental health, featuring experts from St. Kitts and Nevis and the Caribbean region. Tune in live on the first and third Wednesday of every month at 8:30 p.m. on ZIZ TV.
Join us every Wednesday for In Focus, a weekly talk show produced by the St. Kitts Nevis Information Service, where we provide exclusives with key persons within the government and discuss pertinent, relevant, and interesting matters that affect us all. Tune in every Wednesday, live on ZIZ Radio and streamed live on Facebook at SKNIS Media and ZIZ Online. In Focus, your government, your business.
Welcome back to The Edge here on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. I'm your host, Devonne Cornelius. Now, when we talk about diversification in the economy, this is something that every citizen and resident in the Caribbean and in St. Kitts and Nevis would love to see. We've been talking about that we need to diversify. We need to invest in different areas of the economy. More needs to be done in agriculture. More needs to be done in tourism. More needs to be done in education. Now, the truth is, economic diversification or diversification on a whole is not costless. And so there are certain things that we're going to have to sacrifice. There's a significant amount of money that we'll have to spend because you're doing investments. And so instead of having all of your baskets in, or having all of your eggs in one basket, you're now trying to purchase more baskets. Right? And so it is not costless. You're going to have to invest more. Let's say you want to invest more in education, whether it be offer more skills training, where you want more carpenters in the country, you want more electricians, you want more people who they have that skills experience, because that is what the workforce, which is expanding, is calling for. You want more people who are experienced in information, communication, and technology. They're more tech savvy. They can fix computers like that. They can diagnose a problem in a computer very quickly. And so these are the people that you may want if you're talking about expanding your economy and diversifying your economy. But you have to invest. And so it may mean that you would have to offer, whether it be short training courses, whether here in St. Kitts and Nevis or at regional or international institutions. It may mean that you may have to send people off to learn about the best practices in carpentry or the best practices in electrical engineering and these different things. That is the kind of investment that we're talking about. Hence the reason why I said it is not costless. If you're talking about tourism, whether you want to bring more hotels, you want to bring more luxury hotel chains here, or you want to support people who work in the industry by offering training, all in all, it is not costless, but it is worth it. Because you're not looking at what could happen now for now, but you're looking at the end result. How would this help the economy? You want it to be a case where people are less dependent on the state for help. They are less dependent on the state for everyday expenses. They're basically surviving. You want to ensure that people are less dependable on social assistance. That is true economic diversification. You want to ensure that if we lose a sector because of the fact that we're not getting much from that sector because of the fact that we are a small island developing state, you can easily tap into another industry and you can still pay your bills. You can still run your country effectively. You can still run your country properly. That is economic diversification, but the investments must be made. Now, when we talk about renewable energy in St. Kitts and Nevis, and as he mentioned it yesterday, I remembered where the CFPC, they're offering this course for people in that area of renewable energy. The name of the course is not coming to me right now, but the idea is to prepare those individuals now, so when we get this thing in place, we already have locals, people from St. Kitts and Nevis, trained. And so even if we are to bring in people into the country, it will be significantly less. But at least we have people here who are trained and people who know what it is that they're doing. Now, I said earlier that we've been talking about economic diversification for a very, very long time in the Caribbean, and that we need to turn our focus to different areas of the economy. We know in the region, tourism is basically our bread and butter. Apart from tourism, the countries that have access to CBI programs have also been heavily dependent on CBI. But as it relates to tourism, that is our bread and butter. That is where most of our people earn a living. That is where people are able to pay their mortgages, pay their light bill, their water bill, send their children off to school. That is where people were able to see a real payday. And of course, this being the peak season, things are expected to be busy. But we have our challenges when we're talking about tourism. Of course, in the region, we are very prone to natural disasters like hurricanes, and the hurricanes are getting stronger and stronger. And so when these hurricanes come, we lose our hotels and guest houses because they suffer damage. And so what we realize these hotels have been doing is, whenever they are rebuilding or whenever they are making an addition to their existing facility, they are going climate smart. They are building stronger because of the fact that they are located in the region and hurricanes are going to come every year in each territory. And so that is one of the challenge in terms of the climate and the hurricanes that are intensifying. They are getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And that is a challenge as it relates to tourism. And so me saying all of this, I'm trying to say basically, we can't have all of our focus in one area of the economy. We can't pump all of our money into one area of the economy. Now, another thing that I don't think we talk about enough or we take for granted is how we can support each other in the region. Now, a couple months ago, there was this hot button topic, and I say hot button topic because there were a lot of people who had questions, and very important questions at that. But it was regional integration. And the topic was free movement. The free movement of our Caribbean brothers and sisters. Where me being from St. Kitts and Nevis, with my CARICOM skills certificate, I can now freely, let's say, move to Dominica and contribute to the media and communications landscape there. And vice versa, somebody from Dominica can come to St. Kitts and Nevis and contribute to the media landscape here. And so we're talking about free movement. Free movement, I believe, must also form part of the conversation if we're talking about diversifying the economy. Because the truth is, while we do want to train our people here from St. Kitts and Nevis, in St. Kitts and Nevis, in different areas or areas that are in high demand, we would not be in a position to train everybody at the same time. We would not be in a position to get people up to the standard that we're looking for right now to make the change that we so need. And so it may mean that we would have to tap into the market in Antigua, or we have to tap into the market in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, or St. Lucia. And we're going to have to get people, experts in their fields from those countries to come here and offer their expertise and add to the expansion of our economy. And we may have to do the same, where people from here can go to these other countries and make their contribution as well. Now, what I've realized is that there is a lot of people in the region are very xenophobic. And so while I believe that if you're from St. Kitts and Nevis, you should come first in your own country, and I'm not going to argue against that at all. If you're from Antigua and Barbuda, you must come first in your country. But at the same time, we should not overlook those who are qualified, who are experienced, who are trained. And we should not overlook those who can bring something meaningful to the table, because at the end of the day, they are our Caribbean brothers and sisters, and one way or the other, we're going to be contributing to their economy, and they are going to be contributing to ours. So what I'm saying is, free movement and regional integration must form part of the conversation if we're to really diversify our economy here in St. Kitts and Nevis and the region as a whole. And so I hope that when the CARICOM leaders are meeting, that these are the conversations that they're having. These are the conversations they're having so that we can move and grow as a region. Now, with climate change, of course, the Caribbean, we suffer the most. And we don't contribute much to the global emissions, but we suffer the most. We suffer the most. Not because we don't contribute much to the global emissions, that doesn't mean that we should not do our part in reducing it. And so whatever we can do here, whatever small or big we can do here, we must do. But as I said, I hope that these are the conversations that are happening at these big tables. I call them big tables. I hope that these are the conversations that are happening when we're talking about truly diversifying the economy. It's 11:35. I'm going to head to the phone lines and take your calls at 465-2555 or 718-577-2916. If you have the callers on the line, we will take a break, and we'll come back. We'll continue our conversation for today. Stay tuned.
Heart of ZIZ Radio comes a political talk show like no other. The Edge, with host Devonne Cornelius giving you his take on the biggest stories happening in governance today. Got something to say? Let's hear it. Give us a call at 869-465-2555, Monday to Friday from 11 a.m. to 12 noon. One solid hour of in-depth analysis of the machinery that makes our country tick. The Edge, cutting into the matters at hand.
Welcome back to the conversation at hand. You're listening to The Edge, and I'm your host, Devonne Cornelius. Let's head to the phone lines, and we will take your calls. Hello, caller. Good morning. You are on the air.
Good morning, Devonne Cornelius. I want to know if I could get some of the still be owing money. We passed money to borrow. And the Prime Minister did so good yesterday. Because I know him since he's small. He used to walk with his grandmother before school time and pick up the cane on the road and see he come up good brains man. So he don't shame to walk with his grandmother and see his grandmother, he reached to the top view. And God bless him. But I want to know if I could get the Sylvie or money to borrow. Or passport money.
All right. Thank you for your call. Let's head back to the phone lines and we'll take some. All right. The phone lines remain open at 465-2555 or 718-577-2916. It's 11:37 and you are listening to The Edge here on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. I'm your host, Devonne Cornelius, and thank you for joining me on the program for today. So we're talking diversifying, and I want to say the challenge of diversification in the Caribbean. The fact that we we have our share of challenges here in the region, here in St. Kitts and Nevis. We have our share of challenges where we don't have as much access to certain things like the larger countries, like the US, the UK, Canada, Europe, those areas. And so whenever we're looking to, so we're talking about diversifying, it must be strategic. It must be realistic. Now, diversification is not just a public sector focus. So if we're talking about the expansion of the economy, it's not just what can happen in the public sector. It doesn't mean that we should create more departments or more ministries within the government. That's not diversification. It doesn't mean that we should just randomly open the same business and so everybody has a hair salon, everybody has a rental company. But whenever we are seeking to open a business, we have to do our market research and we have to look at businesses that are in high demand. And so, okay, this will make sense. People are going to be hungry for the service, and we must be able to offer things that are not oftentimes offered here, but at the same time, when it is offered, it is in high demand. And so we must approach it strategically, because we don't have money in a, what they call it, in a bat pan with a bottomless pit. So we got to be very strategic and very careful. Hence the reason why the focus is to get our people involved in the process. Get our people involved in the process of diversification. Now, when you look across the region, agriculture, I believe, is on the forefront of diversifying, where, and the expansion of the economy, where we're talking about reducing our food import bill. Of course, we're still on the 25 by 2025 agenda. And the idea is we want to grow more foods here. We don't want to be buying all of our things from overseas. The things that we put into our mouths, the foods that we consume, must be grown right here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Even in the region, but right here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And so these are the things that form part of the expansion of the economy and how we spend from the public's purse. Are we spending it responsibly? Are we spending it in a sense where we tell ourselves, well, we have access to something that is lucrative and so we can just spend? We've seen where our international partners, and I think partners is a strong word to use, but the scrutiny that we have been receiving over the years from people in the international community, in some cases, has been damaging. When you talk about CBI in the region, of course, most of you would hear of these stories where some billionaire got charged or arrested for some sort of money laundering scheme. And so we have to talk about a proper due diligence process. We can't just be selling passports and not doing our proper due diligence. And so that is now the focus, where the CIU unit, they have revamped their process. The 5 countries that participate in this program, they have revamped the process. They have signed a memorandum of agreement, as they would call it, where underselling has now become illegal. There are certain things that you must go through if you are to be a successful applicant. And these are the changes that people at home and abroad have been calling for. These are the changes that are absolutely necessary. But even though the changes are being made with regards to our CBA program, That should not be our only focus. And it's not. And you can really see where people are trying to, public and private, are trying to tap into different areas of the economy, all aimed at that word, diversify. Let's look at how we can invest in other areas. And so yesterday, speaking with the Prime Minister, he spoke about access to water, access to electricity, or renewable energy, which will give us, power. These things are part of the conversation. And so whenever you see St. Kitts and Nevis represented at an international conference on renewable energy or on best practices in procuring best practices in water management, is not just to go and say, well, I was there and I took a picture, but it's the conversations that happen at these conferences. It's the agreements that are signed at these conferences. These are the things that matter. And so our people leave here and they go to these different forums and they get that knowledge, and in some cases that training, and they bring it back. It comes back here to St. Kitts and Nevis, and we use it to further expand and diversify our economy. And so that is why it is important that we are always represented on the international stage where these conversations are happening, or else we are going to be left behind. We can't diversify on our own. We're going to have to learn from the best of the best. We're going to have to learn in different areas from people who have the knowledge and the experience. And that is the truth. And that is what we must focus on. It's 11:45. You're listening to The Edge. I'm your host, Devonne Cornelius, and thank you for joining me in the program for today. Let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll continue our conversation for today. Stay tuned.
The season to be merry with ZIZ Radio and Television Broadcasting Network. And what a better way to make your business stand out than by spreading holiday cheer to your potential customers with our spectacular Christmas package designed to help your business shine during this festive season. We'll tailor our advertising solutions to match your unique business needs. Whether you are a cozy local shop, a trendy online store, or a bustling service provider, we've got something special for you. Plus, our packages are incredibly cost-effective, allowing you to get the most value for your marketing budget. But that's not all. When you choose our Christmas packages, you get ear-catching radio and eye-catching television spots that will keep your business on everyone's mind. Social media campaigns that will keep your followers engaged and excited. So what are you waiting for? This Christmas, make your business the star of the show and give your customers a reason to celebrate. Call us at 465-2621, 465-2622, or visit our sales and marketing department to learn more about our Christmas packages. Together, let's make this holiday season truly magical for your business. Merry Christmas and happy business to you.
Join us in St. Kitts and Nevis. Over 5 decades of uniting culture, music, and spirit in one unforgettable celebration. Here, the energy is infectious, the vibes electric, where every corner of the island pulses with life. Sugar Mass 53, St. Kitts and Nevis National Carnival. December 13th, 2024, January 2nd, 2025. 20 days of non-stop carnival revelry. It's the only place to be. Sugar Mass 53.
Welcome back to The Edge and ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. We're winding down. Coming up at noon is our midday newscast. Now, let me share with you 3 characteristics of Caribbean economies that I believe must be taken into consideration when we're talking about diversifying. And I've been mentioning this one, vulnerable to natural disasters. So on numerous occasions, natural disasters have impeded economic progress in the Caribbean. A hurricane hits and millions of dollars have to be spent to clean up. Millions of dollars. Loss of power, loss of proper drinking water. We need food, shelter. And so you hear the hundreds of millions of dollars that have to be pumped into getting countries back on their feet or afloat again. And so that's the first thing that we must always take into consideration. The fact that we are very much vulnerable to natural disasters. When a Caribbean island is hit by a natural disaster, its government is forced to allocate its limited financial resources to rebuilding the economy or repairing damages. So while most countries have hurricane funds, or they've put aside, let's say, $10 million for recovery efforts, the truth is, if we are to be hit by a Category 5, a direct hit with a Category 5, we are not going to survive it. And when I say that, I mean in terms of infrastructure, electricity, water, food, and in some cases, people are going to have to start from scratch. And the government will have a major role to play in getting things back together. Limited natural resources. So you do have some countries in the region that have access to natural resources. But it is not all across the region. And so in some cases you may have to share. But it is not there in an abundance. And so while you may want to tap into or explore the natural resources, it is highly limited. And that is something too that must be taken into consideration. Now we're looking at the trade openness. Now Caribbean economies have benefited tremendously from strong regional and international trade relationships. And the small physical size of most islands has made it virtually impossible for any Caribbean nation to produce all of the goods that its citizens and firms need on its own. So the reality is, we can't produce all of our food, we can't produce all of our clothing, because it may not be up to par, up to standard. This is not me saying that we should not produce our own, but because of our size, and because size in terms of the actual landmass, and size in terms of our population size, we cannot do everything on our own. Trade is very vital for the survival of Caribbean economies. That multiple trade blocs have been formed in the region, all of which aim to remove trade barriers such as tariffs and quotas among member states. So CARICOM and the OECS are the two most popular trade alliances in the West Indies, and additionally, many islands have established preferential trade agreements with Canada and members of the European Union. And this helps expose these small economies to wider markets. So yes, while we are in support of producing our own, we can't do it on our own. So the takeaways are, the Caribbean is defined by a series of small islands that are still developing, and we need the assistance of each other and the international partners. Most Caribbean islands, they either depend on CBI, agriculture, or tourism, and most of us, if not all, of course, we are prone to natural disasters. And so these are things that we must take into consideration when we are talking about truly diversifying our economy and tapping into other areas. If we're not going to be talking about these things, then we're not serious about truly expanding. Because if you're not prepared for natural disasters, then we may very well be spinning in mud, where we build and we have to start from scratch again, because we're not building facilities that are resilient. We're not building things that could stand up against the harsh effects of the climate. We're waiting until the last minute to take things serious. We're waiting until the last minute, and then we have this helter-skelter. These things must be taken into consideration. The fact that we can't produce everything on our own, our food, the clothes that we wear, and different needs that we would have. It can't all be produced here. These are things that definitely has to be taken into consideration. And of course, limited natural resources. So while Nevis may have geothermal, there are other countries in the region that may not have access to it. But they're still very much interested in going that route of renewable energy. But we have the sun, which is good. But in terms of other areas, we may be lacking. So all I'm saying is these are things that we really have to consider. And when I say we, all of us included, public sector, private sector, we must take these things into consideration. When we're talking about truly diversifying the economy and truly giving our people an opportunity to prosper, giving our people an opportunity to contribute as well. These things must form part of the conversation. It's 11:56 and you have been listening to The Edge here on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. Until next time, you guys, continue to stay safe. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Don't drink and drive. Don't text and drive. Bus drivers, again, I continue to plead with you. Take your time on the road. Some of you drive excessively fast. Also, generally, road users, take your time on the road. People who are using the pedestrian crossings, please be crossing. Please be mindful. Texting and driving, drinking and driving are two major causes of accidents here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And even though the police continue to come on the airwaves and encourage people not to do these things, they still do. And so I do my part, and every time I sign off of this program, I encourage people to not text and drive at the same time. You're not going to win that fight. Don't drink and then try to go and operate a vehicle. You will not win that fight. And so until next time, you guys stay safe. Have a good one. Coming up at noon is our midday newscast. Stay tuned.